So I think Madam has already, talked about it. But I hope this perspective is little different than what Madam has taught. So it will be some additional information. It's not additional. I mean, it is information which is from another perspective. Okay, and I also hope that it is not repeating. Okay. So let us look at the topic. So before we begin the dynamic memory allocation, we are going to discuss a lot about memory only, memory and types of memory and things like that. So before we begin, let us just recap global and local variables. So I hope all of you know what is a global variable and what is a local variable. So global variable is something or some value which is which is available across the functions. Like for example, in this simple program, you can observe that there is a single function called main. There is a single function called main, and int g. This g is a global variable. Just assume that there was another function, say f1, f2, so some functions, and since g is declared as global, so how do you declare a variable as global? You have to put that outside of any of the functions. So just like if you observe here, g is outside the main. It is not a part of any function. So then if a variable is not a part of any function, it becomes a global variable. So since it's not a part of any function, so it's a global variable and you can access that variable from any other function. Whereas if you look at this int a and b, they are local variables. So why do you call as local variables? Because they are inside, they are declared inside this function of main. In this example, the function name is main. Whatever it is, the function f1, f2, whatever the function name is, if you declare any variables inside the function, then they become local variables. I hope this is known to all of you, but just as a recap, I'm just trying to define what is global and what is local variable. So it's very clearly mentioned here with the comment G is global and AB are local variables. So my point is only to identify which are global variables and which are local variables and where do we declare them and what is the difference between them. Global variables are accessible across the functions, whereas local variables are accessible within the function. So int that is main, this main function has local variables a and b. So a and b are local to only this main function. A and b are not available for other functions. Say f1, f2, f3. If you have a program which has more than one function. So this is another part of the program, if you say so. Just another function. So you have int add x comma y. X and y are parameters of this add function, and int pq. So now tell me, what is pq? Are they local or global? Quickly. P and q, are they local or global?
Local, sir.
Local. What about x and y? Here, x and y?
They are also local.
Agreed. So they are also local. Parameters of a function call are also local variables. Clear? Parameters of a function call are also local variables, and variables that are declared inside the function are already local variable. Good. So there's another example, global and variables, global and local variables, differentiation. So this is the global variable and this is another global variable. Only thing is it is static. It is static int m equal to 10. It's a static variable. And then there is another, inside the main function, if I simply write I++, it will try to access the global variable I and that gets incremented. And similarly here there is another function called, there is another variable I in this function, whereas this I is a local variable. There are two I's here. Observe that one is a global I and one is a local I. So which I does this, this I++ and J++ will access?
So
local variable, because local has the more precedence over the global. Okay, I hope all this is clear. So the point is, I mean, probably most of us know what is a local variable, what is a global variable, what gets order preference and all that. We are going to discuss little more than this. So this is what is known to all of you. Now this is a next topic or related topic, which is categories of program data. So just now we saw local, global, static and all. So we are trying to categorize them clearly. So there is something called as static data. So what do you mean by static data? So this data is created and allocated at compile time. That is, memory to this data is created and allocated at compile time. Static data. There is something called as dynamic data. So this is explicitly allocated and deallocated during program execution by C or C++ statements written by the programmer. So observe the difference. One is created and allocated at compile time. That is static data. So that's the reason it's called static. And now dynamic data. This is explicitly allocated and deallocated. That is, you create and you destroy. That is, you take some memory, use it for some time and give it back. Deallocate is give it back. Allocate is take or use, start using the memory. You take some memory from the operating system. Of course, who is giving you? The operating system. You in the sense, you in the sense the programmer or the program. Your program is asking for memory from the operating system. Clear? Program is asking for some amount of memory, say 10 bytes, 20 bytes, 100 bytes, 1000 bytes, whatever. You are asking, as I told you, the program is asking for some memory from the operating system, and the operating system will grant that to you. That is called as allocation. And on the way, you also give it back. That is deallocate. You give it back during the program execution. And explicitly allocation and deallocation, these two steps are written as statements in a program. Then there is something called as automatic data. So this automatically created at function entry, that is this memory or this data is created automatically at a function entry, resides in the stack frame of the function and is destroyed while returning from the function. Getting it? So I hope you are able to link that global, static, all that to this three categories of data. I'll tell you in the next slides how the link is made, or but I'm trying to give you a clue on these 3 points and whatever we discussed in the first 2 slides. First 2 slides, most of you answered it correctly, but probably this is what we were not aware of: static and dynamic data and automatic data. So as the name says, automatic or dynamic data, so these two are happening, or these two data gets created and destroyed during runtime. Agreed? Because when the function is automatically created at the function entry. What do you mean by function entry? When the function starts executing, and it is destroyed when returning from the function. That means you are exiting the function. That means what? The function is alive, or the program is alive, or program is running. Similarly, dynamic data, the program should be executing, then only your C++ statements for allocation and deallocation will execute and run. So again, here also, this is during running. Dynamic data and automatic data are during the run time. Getting it? So they happen during the run time. Whereas static data, they create and allocate. That is, data is created and allocated during the compile time. Getting it? What do you mean by compile time and run time? As I just now mentioned, compile time is the time at which you try to compile your code. That is, you run F9, control F9 or just F9, whatever. You compile the program. So during compilation, the compiler will get to know how much data is static data and how much memory is to be allocated, and all that is done at the compile time. So, but dynamic data, compiler will not be able to understand, or will not be able to having any idea. It will not be able to have any idea on dynamic data and automatic data. So they are during the runtime. So only when the program is running, the operating system, with the help of operating system, you will be able to manage this dynamic data and automatic data during runtime. Clear? Any questions?
No, sir.
Yeah. No, categories. This was like categories of program data. Now categories of program memory. So we'll just try to put these three categories into three different program memories. So one is what we call as static memory. So as the name says, this is where global and static variables live or reside or allocate. And as the name says, or as the statement says, they are created at the start of the program and exist till the end of the program. Agreed? So the moment you run the program, this static memory is allocated in the memory or in your main memory or the RAM, what we call, and all the data is available there at the start of memory, and all the data will be there till the end of the program. All the data, all that memory allocation, you cannot take it back. The memory allocated, you cannot take it back till the program ends. That's called static memory. And there is something called as heap memory. This is where the dynamically allocated memory is located. Heap memory. I'll write few more points about heap memory in the next slide. Just understand this much. There is something called as heap memory, wherein your dynamically allocated memory that you have at the execution time, they all sit in the heap memory. And how do you access this memory? This memory is accessed by pointers. This memory is accessed by pointers. Heap memory. Then the last category is stack memory. Stack memory is used by automatic variables. So we just, in the previous slide, we saw what are automatic variables. They are the local variables and the parameters to a function call. They are automatic variables. They reside in stack memory. Clear? So there is something called as static memory, which gets allocated at the beginning of the program, and it won't be destroyed until the end of the program. And that size, static memory size, is fixed at the compile time. When the compiler gets to know, okay, I require some 100 bytes of memory. I have these data to be stored, permanently. That is until the program is running. So that becomes 100 bytes, fixed number of bytes, and that get allocated. Whereas dynamic memory, there is no value. What your program might require is not known to the compiler. Your program might require 10 bytes or 20 bytes or 200 bytes or 1000 bytes. That depends completely on runtime. That is, during running only you will get to know what is the size. That's the reason it's called dynamic memory. The size is not known at compile time. So therefore, we have something called as heap memory, which will be used to allocate such requests for dynamic memory. And this dynamic memory are accessed using pointers. Remember, static memory, like for example, all the local variable, not all the local, the global variables and the static variables that we have, we usually name them G, I, A, B, X, Y, whatever. So they are named variables, so we can easily access them through the names. Whereas dynamic memory allocation, so there is no name, because I don't know how many variables I require, right? Because just now I told you dynamically I'll create and destroy. So I cannot dynamically create and destroy the names also. So that's the reason they are actually used or accessed using pointers. The last is stack memory, which we all clearly understood. The automatic variables, they are stored in stack memory, right? So just as a recap. So static memory, global variables and static variables. Heap memory, dynamically allocated memory, is stored in heap memory, and heap memory is also called as free store. There is another name called free store for heap memory. And again, here it's written here, unnamed variables. They don't have names. They are accessed by pointers. Pointers may have names, but variables will not be having names. Then stack memory, local variables, and function parameters. Any doubts till now?
Sir, to get the allocation of heap memory with the help,
Yeah.
we call it malloc
Correct.
and some
Yes.
functions. And
Yes.
these functions are a system call to OS, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, sir, in the case of microcontrollers where there are no operating systems, then how we should get the access to heap memory?
No, there will be some, the compiler, they would have written in particular way that you get that memory, or the programmer himself has to allocate the heap memory himself. See, basically operating system is managing your entire memory. But as you said, in a microcontroller, you have fixed memory, you don't have a virtual memory and all such concepts. So what memory you are working with, that is what physical memory, that is how much RAM basically. Maybe 2 MB of RAM or 2 GB of RAM, whatever is the RAM of that microcontroller is known to you. So you decide as a programmer, this is the size of the heap, this is the size of the stack, this is my program size. So all that will be known to you, or will be, you will be demarcating the entire program. I mean, entire memory, sorry. You will be demarcating the entire available memory, and you will be specifying, this is my heap, this is my stack, this is the stack size, what I meant. This is the stack size, this is the heap size, and this is where my program resides. So you will give all the details. So therefore, and that details will be given at the beginning, that is at the compiling stage, so that the compiler will manage these things internally.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. The programmer has a little more extra work to do when you're discussing or when you're dealing with microcontrollers without any OS. I mean, bare microcontroller without any OS, then it is our job to do all these things. Yeah.
Sir, in the case of this thing, real-time operating systems and all, do they manage the memory call for allocation of heap memory?
Yeah. Depends. I mean, depends on the operating system. Usually they have at least this much of memory management utility, or some program or some support will be done. I mean, will be given. See, again, real-time operating system, it is like, plug and play. I mean, you take whatever you want. You
Yes.
take whatever you want for your purposes, because the memory limitation is huge, and the program, has to be running in real time. So you don't want to take extra baggages. So you take only what is required and try to manage without that. I mean, so that is the way.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, these are some more points about heap memory. So heap is a portion of memory where dynamically allocated memory resides, as I told you. Then large area of memory controlled by the operating system that is used to grant dynamic memory requests. So memory allocation from the heap will remain allocated until one of the following occurs. That is, see, you ask for memory, that is, you request for memory, you will get some memory chunk, some kilobytes or bytes or whatever that number, that size you want to. If it is available, it will be allocated, and then when it will be given back, or when will be, until when you will be having that is until the allocated memory is given back. So sometime during the course of your program, you might give it back. That's called freeing of memory. You took some memory, you used that for some purpose, then after some time you don't want to use it, or you don't want that memory allocation to be continuing, so you can give it back. Or the other option is, the other way in which the memory can be taken back is program is terminated. Your program got terminated, then all the memory that was allocated to you will also be taken back. Then usually, of course, when I say virtual memory, assuming that we are dealing with the desktop or operating system based environment, usually that is where virtual memory and all those concepts will be there. So heap memory size depends on the size of virtual memory available to the program. So if you don't have an operating system, as somebody was pointing out, then the programmer should decide how much should the heap size be. Otherwise, the operating system will try to decide how much the heap size should be based on the virtual memory available to the program. Okay, so after this slide, I will stop. Will it start at 9 or later? I mean, your somebody pointed out that you have some interview, online exam or something. Right. Memory of a program while running. So this is how your memory that is allocated to any program looks like. So you can observe here. So there is some memory which is allocated at compile time. So what all you can decide at compile time, you know what is the size of your program. That is your code. The size of the code is fixed, right? Because you have written the program, you have compiled it, so you know what is the size of the code. So that program size is fixed. Then another fixed data or fixed size is the data, whatever is your static data. So that data size is fixed. So therefore, this entire data or this entire memory size is fixed at compile time. So compile time allocated memory. So you can see that here. So this is fixed. Then apart from this memory, you will also have some more memory that is allocated to your program. So this is the entire thing is your memory allocation for your program. This additional memory that is allocated is at runtime. So runtime allocated memory. So you'll have a fixed value, high end and low end. That is high end, low end in the sense your memory value. Low end is, say, for example, address 0000. High end is, let us say, FFFF. I mean, as an example. So this is the top end of the memory, and this is the bottom end of the memory. Okay, so 00002 FFFF. So stack starts from the top and heap starts from this end. Just observe that stack is starting from the top and heap is starting from this end. So obviously, right? I mean, they both are dynamic. I mean, stack, if you keep on pushing, stack size grows. If you keep on popping, stack size goes down. Similarly, if you keep on allocating memory dynamically, then heap size will start increasing. And if you keep on deallocating, then heap size will come down. So they are dynamic. So that's the reason they start at the opposite end. So the moment they clash, that means your program is not able to continue. Getting it? Heap. So until you have the space, you can keep on adding or keep on asking for dynamic memory. Similarly, stack, you can keep pushing until the end of the stack is reached or end of this overlap or something is occurring here. Getting it? So this size is fixed at compile time, and this is the dynamic memory, what I was talking about. That size can vary during runtime. Yeah. So we will stop here because of your request of 9 this thing. So should we stop? Are you people here?
Some of them are here.
Okay, so how many of you are attending that? No idea. Okay, since the size is less, I mean attendance is less, so I presume that most of you are attending. Okay, then I'll stop it here. So I'll continue in the next class.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Right. So if there is anything of this sort, inform us earlier so that we can probably reschedule or do some arrangement for this. Okay. One of you can at least write to us.
Hello.
Madam.
Students, see you, I think all the 4 CRs are there, I hope so, in this class. If so, please convey this information earlier to us, okay, so that we can do the things. And any change in our class also, we can intimate to you through that. I hope all the 4 are there. If not, one person from each class may be sufficient, so that we can convey the information. Is it fine? So we make that kind of arrangement. Otherwise, it will be a problem in the future also. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many CRs are there? I think A section CR is there with us in this section, in this this one. Let us know if 4 of the any 4 representation from the each class are there. Then we will convey all the messages, or you can convey the messages through that. Okay.
No, I think they have a group or a WhatsApp group or something for this particular part. Even otherwise, they can write in Teams only. They can at least inform in Teams that some
Yes.
of us are doing this exam or whatever that
Yes.
this thing is. We can
Yeah.
reschedule.
Correct. I agree. Yes.
Okay. Right, madam. Thank you.